Hi everyone, and welcome to day 5, which will be as well the last day from this Watercoloring Techniques 2 online class. And tomorrow I will post another quick video for another little tip what you can use for watercoloring. But today we'll focus more on shading, where you stamp your image, color it, kinda don't shade right away, but then we'll apply more color to different areas to achieve the shading. So I will show you two techniques, shading on wet image and on dry image, and how it when you shade onto the wet image you will have more subtle look, the colors will be more light, the shades will be lighter, and when you shade onto already dried image the colors will be darker and more saturated, so the shades will be darker. So I'll use two different stamp sets. The first one is Blowing Kisses and the other one is Greeting Card Kit. So I'll use the little bunny. Blowing Kisses. Well, actually it's blowing hearts. And I will use the little girl with the heart in her hand. So, and I have different stamp pads. I will list all of those, but you will need different colors. So I will tell you what colors are as we go along, and as well I'll list them on the blog. So as well you will need your StazOn Jet Black ink pad and your watercoloring paper, your aqua painter, the one with small tip, and a paper towel. So I'll start by, I will use the same piece of watercolor paper for both images. So I will stamp one on one side and the other one on the other side, so we can utilize better the watercolor paper. So I have the little girl here. I will ink it up, and then I'll stamp it somewhere here in the middle. So there's the little girl, and then I'll do the same thing with the bunny but on the other side, and actually I'll just turn this around. So if you're using clear blocks, make sure that your blocks, like, time to time wash your clear box. Don't clean them with the stamp cleaner, because that's another thing that may cause your stamps to not stick onto the clear block. As well, if you're in a humid climate, you will need to press a little harder on your stamps when you're adhering them to the clear block, so they're and I think I messed up this one because, okay, I'll take another piece of watercolor paper later after we're done with this one, and I'll do that again. Actually, I'll just turn it around, or not. Okay, let me grab another piece of watercolor paper and we'll be back. Okay, I have here a smaller piece of watercolor paper, and let me make sure that the stamp is adhered pretty well onto acrylic block so it doesn't fall off again. Okay. Ink your stamp and then just stamp. Okay, that came out pretty good. And make sure that you close your StazOn ink pad. This one dries pretty quickly, so it's important to close it. So we'll start first with the little bunny, and for this one we'll shade wet on wet. So first, as I showed you the other day, we'll moisten the image just where you're going to apply color. So it becomes a little shiny, not too shiny. And I will use crumb cake and soft suede for the little bunny. I was planning to make a gray bunny, but I decided to change it a little bit. So okay, there we go. And then you will take your ink pad, just squish it, and then just while this is still wet, make sure that it's completely wet all over. And then pick up color and color the whole thing. And don't worry about shading right away. It should be same color. So when you're shading wet on wet, you'll need to be working fast. So, okay. The bunny's all covered with the same color. Then dry your water brush a little bit. It's like less, more drier than before, and apply more ink onto the sides where you want your shades to be. So if you, because the image is wet, this ink will spread, and I want this ear to be, but you will need to work very quickly. The drier your brush is, the more saturated the color you're applying will be. So there you go. Here we have darker. And then you can go and kind of wet the whole image. Okay, and then if you want darker shading, you can go ahead and take some of the soft suede ink, and again take your brush, just a little bit damp, and again wet the image, and then pick up some of the soft suede and apply where you want the darker color to be. So a bit more here, and you will notice that it's blending by itself, and the ear behind a bit darker. Okay, then just clean your brush and kind of blend it in. Okay, there's our bunny. Hope you can see it. So then the next we'll color the hearts and the little thing, I forget the name it's called, for blowing bubbles. So we won't need anymore the crumb cake and soft suede. I'll use pink period and pretty in pink for the hearts. So again, clean your brush, squeeze a little bit so the water starts coming out. And before you start coloring, prepare your ink pads. I have my pink period here and the pretty in pink. I need to squish this one. Okay. So then take your brush and ink up, not ink up, but apply water to your images, and I will do one heart at a time. So then dry your brush a little bit, pick up the pink period and color the whole thing. Okay, then pick up some pretty in pink and you'll apply. And I think my image is too wet, so I'll wait just a little bit to not be completely dry, but a little bit damp, so the colors will blend. And make sure you dry your brush. Okay, I think this is hopefully dry enough. Pick up more pink period and I'll apply on the bottom here. And then some pretty in pink to add some shadow here. So there's one heart, and then it's still pretty wet, so I'll wait a little bit, and in the meantime I'll just add water to this other heart, and then I'll color it with the pink red. And pick up some pretty pink, go on the side, and just all like a pretty light color, so the shading is not so intense, but still there is some shading going on. And then I'll add some pretty pink on the other heart. Okay, clean your brush, and then the other two hearts, the small ones, those will be pretty fast. Okay, then pick up some pretty pink, and I need a little bit more into my lid. There we go, and then just add the shading, and the colors will be blending in by themselves because the image is still wet. So there we go, and then I'll just color in the little loop thing there. I'll use early espresso, just a little bit. And as you notice, I did this like dry and dry because it's very tiny part, so I mean wet and dry. And then the little nose of the bunny. So here's our image, hope you can see it. So the next one will be shading on dry, already colored dry images, so it will be a little bit different.